That's right, because right now, obviously, deflation is the problem. And so the Federal Reserve is fighting deflation with a massive increase in the money supply. But you have this massive borrowing that's going on. Our debt and obligations are going to be so high, the cost of borrowing is going to go up through the roof. And I think the pressure will be very large on the Federal Reserve to inflate our way out of this. And the problem is, with all this monetary stimulus going out the door, with all this borrowing that's occurring, it's going to be next to impossible for the Fed to get this right, to mop up all this excess liquidity and to wrench out inflation before it occurs. So as soon as we're out of these deflationary woods, my fear is we're going back into an inflationary environment. And with this stimulus, which we don't think will work, leading to much higher taxes in about a year and a half, which we know is clear, that will give us this dangerous recipe that we so deeply want to avoid. I'm not saying we're going to have Jimmy Carter levels, but it's going to get bad, I think.
Well, you said, and to quote you, the more dangerous consequences in this bill were overlooked. You also point out it's not just $787 billion, it's also the interest that most people didn't pay attention to. Why do you think there was this massive rush? We're getting into this earlier in the program tonight. Why this massive rush? Why not give the American people time to digest this?
This bill was becoming more and more unpopular every extra minute it stood the light of day. We saw the bill at 11 p.m. the evening before we voted on it at 2 in the afternoon the next day. There's an $8 billion Harry Reid earmark that was slipped in there. The longer this thing stood out there, the more unpopular it was becoming, the tougher it was for Democrats to vote for it. So you add the interest cost of this bill, according to the Congressional Budget Office, that's $348 billion. You take the spending gimmicks out of it, what we call the funding cliffs out of it, and the cost of this bill could go as high as $3 trillion, according to the Congressional Budget Office. So the costs that you've seen advertised, the number you threw on the front of your screen there at the beginning of the show, are so much smaller than what the CBO was telling us this bill will end up costing.
Well, what's amazing to me is...
All on borrowed money.
All on borrowed money, but the CBO actually warned everybody. They're saying you might get a slight uptick in the beginning, but the end, gross domestic product is going to result here. You used a different term. I kind of like what you said in your piece. It's a destroyer of savings, a killer of wealth, and a crusher of confidence. Now, Obama used a lot of fear. How certain are you that you're right and that he's wrong and that the Democrats are wrong?
I hope President Obama is right, and I hope that I am wrong. I hope that this unprecedented level of borrowing, that all of this monetary stimulus will not result in inflation. I hope I am wrong, but the economic evidence, the economic fundamentals, the economic history of monetary policy suggests that we will be courting inflation down the road. Well, so I hope that history and evidence is not the right guide.
Yeah, I would hope so for the sake of the country, but I've never seen anywhere where this has been successful. In other words, this type of government transfer from the public to the government in terms of the economy, I don't see where it's ever worked. So I don't have any confidence that it's going to work, nor do I think this is a stimulus. Even the CBO said it's not a stimulus bill.
That's right.
Well, great. It's
a spending bill. And CBO told it, that's what it is. And CBO is telling us that in the long run, in the medium term, it's actually going to hurt the economy. It's going to make the economy grow less than it otherwise would have grown if we didn't do this.
All right, Congressman Ryan, appreciate you being with us on Hannity tonight.